Hi, how's it going, you beautiful sons of guns? My name's Dapper Saint, and it's good to be back. Before we go into anything else, I should probably say something about the title. Don't worry, I'm good. I have a place to live. And for that record, no, the title isn't clickbait, because when you think about it, I am one home less. I am moving, so I am technically homeless. Dumb title aside, I just wanted to catch people's attention because this is a very important video, as I've been gone for well over a month or so now. And there's a lot to unpack, much unlike my stuff here. Actually, to be perfectly honest, this is empty. I just thought it looked good for the video itself. Oh, and I will be doing one final room setup tour at the end of this video once I get done talking about everything. If you don't want to talk about the really kind of dark and rough stuff that's been happening, because it is kind of sad, yeah, you can just skip that, I don't mind. But with that said, there is a lot to be said, and, well, to be perfectly honest and transparent, I should probably put a disclaimer, because this is probably going to be a much more rough subject, as quite literally a lot has happened this semester, so let's just get into that. In fact, actually, let's just scratch the surface when it comes to basically the beginning to the end. So first and foremost, this has been my last semester, which is a lot to take into consideration, as, well, my life is completely changing right now. I have been living on this campus for over 5 years of my life, which is over 20% of how long I've lived so far. I hope it's not 20% of my whole life, although, oh god. And there's a lot that comes with that. Ideally, the fact that I will also be moving, and I had to figure out a place to live in the first place, which, hey, look, the title isn't as clickbait now, because I was scared about that, ahaha. But adding on to that, there's a lot that I have to do, such as the fact of also double capstones, which meant double the work that most people have to do, and it was a lot, to say the least. Man, there were a lot of nights where I just did not sleep, I'm not gonna lie. But it wasn't really so much of a college problem, but more of other stuff happening in my life as well, as if some of you may remember, my father was also in the hospital yet again, and he barely got away from death's grasp once more. But that's not exactly where all the family issues end, because, well, on the other side of that, my mother has been diagnosed with second stage lymph node cancer. And that was a lot to take in, to say the least, not only because was there the fear of it being a genetic thing, but just, that's a lot for a family to go through. Did I also mention that a lot of other small things happened here and there, such as the fact that my cord for my valve index, you know, the entirety of my YouTube channel, what's all about, decided to go out on me. Oh, and don't even get me started on the fact my heart was literally broken at some point during this whole thing, so that was soul crushing. And it was just basically like one bad thing after another bad thing after another bad thing, and well, at some point, I'm not gonna lie, I had a panic attack. There was a night where I just broke down and I was crying. And that was also the night I realized that I needed to take a break, and I needed to take care of myself. I think there's one thing I need to say, and that's the fact that by no means is being vulnerable a bad thing. That's why I'm pretty open about this stuff, as like, nobody's invincible, even someone such as me, and I know that really well now too, because even though I am a very positive individual, you can't just kind of shrug off everything, and I think this is a great example of that. So I had to take initiative, and I had to take care of myself. It went from a situation where I wasn't able to make videos to I wasn't in a state to make videos. So that's kind of why I've been gone for such a long time. For those who aren't a part of the Discord, I highly recommend you actually join it, because I'm way more active on that, and I have been posting and talking a little bit more about this whole situation with them. So definitely check that out. I'll leave a link in the description about that. But basically, when it came to the entirety of all social media, Twitter, YouTube, stuff like that, I kind of just had to take a break, and I had to get away from it all. And I had to just take my baby steps when it came to my own mental health. So yeah, ultimately I took initiative for a bit. I decided to kind of push through finals and actually prepare for graduation. I also did a lot of things in lives, kind of like bringing up old hobbies and just working on those for a bit, working on myself a little bit, making sure that I'm taking care of myself, getting good sleep. I surrounded myself with people I care about, and people that really care about me, because God, it's kind of crazily eye-opening about how much people care about you when they see that you're not doing well. Because, like, anything outside of the norm for me is basically anything that isn't positive. As I said earlier, I am a very positive being, so people were very, very quick to see that I was not okay. And, God, it almost makes me want to tear up a little bit, not in a sad way, but more in like a, I'm truly grateful to have the people around me that I do kind of moment. Because, gosh, it was also one of those things where it gave me a lot of time to think about stuff, such as my YouTube channel in general, or what I'm going to exactly do in the future, because this is a very, very big moment in my life. My life is completely changing as of this month. At the end of May, I am going to be gone from this campus and I will be never coming back. Unless I go get a master's, which fuck that. I don't know if I want to do that right now because, oh my god, I've been in college for 6 years. Oh, so I got 2 bachelor's degrees. I think I'm good for a while. Listen, I'm more smarter. I've been eating the green crayons. They make you big brain. But after I had some time to think about things for a bit and also take care of myself for a bit, I then proceeded to kind of try to take advantage of every small achievement in life and kind of just get back that good kind of like happy, positive vibe as I normally did. And it was a long time coming, but here I am. I think actually one of my favorite small achievements was recording for the first time the other day, as gosh, have I missed this. Don't even worry, I'm not leaving anytime soon. Yes, I thought about if I wanted to keep continuing YouTube, but dude, it is way too much fun for me to ever stop doing this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm in red when it comes to this. I've invested a lot of money into YouTube, and I don't really make much back. But that's okay, because it is insanely fun, and man, did I miss it. Like, the other day when I actually got up, did the whole recording process, got cleaned up, it did a little bit of a shave, and then I went around and checked my room. It felt so good. Oh, yeah, there really isn't like a moral of the story when it comes to this other than take care of yourself. As I said earlier, no one's invulnerable, no one's invincible, and you need to understand that sometimes. So I don't know if any of you guys out there are struggling as well, but really just take that time for yourself if you really need it. And it's okay to take a break. I understand, especially with YouTube and stuff, as one of my main hobbies and me being an actual YouTuber now, it's bad to take breaks, and the platform really doesn't encourage it because once you're kind of out of the space, you kind of lose traction quite a bit, and that can be one of those things that's scary in itself, but you know, you gotta care about what's more important. And even if there was that kind of thing breathing down my neck, I ultimately took the stance that I need to take care of myself. You have to really think for yourself, is it worth my own mental health? And well, I knew I'd come back eventually, and I know you guys would be waiting for me, so hey, it's good to see you. Speaking of things to think about, there is one thing for sure, and that is the fact that, well, God, I am happy to have you guys. I don't like getting like sentimental or things like that, but when I was thinking about everything that was going on in my life, it kind of realized the fact that like the community I've been able to build when it comes to YouTube has been one of the funnest experiences I've had in a long time. I've missed it. I know I thought a little bit about the fact of maybe ending YouTube and everything, but it was ultimately one of those things where this has become one of my greatest passions, and I'm so happy to be able to share that with you guys when it comes to basically being able to make funny and silly videos that I appreciate that you guys enjoy as well. I don't know, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm really happy that even though I've been gone, I can say that there's a community out there that I can call home. So, I appreciate you all. Okay, anyways, so one thing I do want to also say is the fact that I have a lot of video ideas coming up. I'm very excited for that. Keep in mind that I am going to be moving, so you're going to actually see a lot of changes in the background, and there probably will be a time where I'm gone for a couple days. Hopefully I'm able to switch that between VR videos and stuff, because I've thought about how I'm going to transition well for that, so look out for that stuff. Hopefully things go well. I'm very excited for what's going to be coming up, especially the next video, as this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. Basically the only thing that was holding it back was the fact of the things that are going on in my life, so I think that you guys will definitely enjoy it. With that said, I think there's only one more thing that needs to be done, and that's the fact that there is a room tour that needs to be shown. So I actually have some old recordings and stuff that I did about like a week or two back, so I will show that to you guys right now, and I hope you guys enjoy. It's really starting to like hit me, honestly. It's kind of odd and everything, considering my entirety of YouTube has been in this room. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I've been living here on campus for about 5 years, which is just absurd. Also, just watch out, my room isn't exactly the cleanest. But yeah, I guess we should probably get into this. So let's start over with the computer. And here we are. This is where all the magic happens. When it came to my YouTube setup, I wanted to make sure I could utilize every single bit of space, and god did I do that. There's a few issues with my whole setup, and the fact of like, I have rapidly evolved it over time, and not exactly everything is held up as well as everything else. This desk itself, for instance, although I love L desks, does not have the space for this gigantic monitor, or even my light for that matter. At all times, it's literally touching the back of my monitor, and that's not exactly the greatest. And we're not even going to talk about my lack thereof wiring stuff. God, it is atrocious, especially with my VR stuff plugged in and everything, because that's even more wires. But yeah, we're just gonna ignore that, all right? With that said, I actually have a few little knickknacks up here, such as like the fact of my little Gundams. My friend actually got me into building these little model kits a while back, and we've been watching Witch of Mercury ever since. If you have not watched Witch of Mercury yet, I definitely recommend, as it is just mwah. Adding on to that, my friend actually did get me one of the Gundams from it, and maybe one of these days I could maybe build it during a stream or something. I also have a few other things on display over here, such as the fact of my Persona cases. I always like getting the hard cases even if they don't actually matter. And then back here is from News Story, one of the first actual charity streams I ever did. It was really cool to like actually get something back from that whole thing, because it randomly popped up in my mailbox about the fact of like a thank you card for participating, and that kind of meant a lot, honestly. For some of you OG veterans here, you might remember this helmet, as this helmet has been in several different videos. But most importantly, my first IRL video. If you come down over here in this little cubby, this is my tiny little area that I have dedicated to D&D stuff, if it'll ever focus. I have a few different versions of my characters that I played throughout the years, such as Sir Chariot, or even like this really awesome custom painted one that my friend did for me and everything for my character June. Overall, like throughout the years, especially living on campus, D&D has been one of my favorite hobbies to do with friends. I've always thought it'd be super cool to do like a live stream over it, but it's kind of hard to do something like that, especially since like, you know, Critical Role and other things like that exist. Behind here, you have all my accessories that I don't use. Fun fact, that is a tiny little speed editor that I got with DaVinci's Resolve, because you actually have to buy a product to be able to get DaVinci's Resolve, and man, I have not used it once. If you come down here for a second, I did just want to show this off, as this was something I got earlier this year, and I love this, and it's still going to be on display in my actual next setup too. So I just adore for Persona, if you haven't noticed, especially with the cases up there. Persona has definitely been one of the biggest inspirations for my aesthetic in general. I mean, you can probably see that during the actual banner on my channel, some of the segues I do, the music that I utilize, so it's kind of nice actually having a few things from it. I'm typically not one just to buy random stuff for your actual decorations and everything, and if you've probably noticed throughout the entirety of this, much of the stuff I have is symbolic or there's a reason behind it. In fact, actually, the vast majority of stuff that I've bought throughout the years has actually been mostly dedicated to YouTube. It's actually weird, now that I think of it, I think I've raised more money for charities than I've actually made for myself and everything, which is awesome and kind of like a really cool achievement, but it is really interesting. Maybe one of these days in the future I'll look into monetizing more, but it just always feels so wrong because I do this more as a passion, not so much as a job, and I've always kind of seen it as that way as well. I don't know, leave a comment below if you want a Dapper Saint OnlyFans. I also, of course, have a little bit of stuff over here, like a little painting that I did a while back. There is a third monitor that I've been utilizing. This is actually just a TV, but it works perfectly for my YouTube setup. That's why, like, sometimes during streams, you'll actually see me looking up to the left for some reason, and it's because, well, I'm sitting here and everything during that. POV, you're a degenerate that likes to make VR content online. And this right here is my prized possession. No, not the thermometer that says 78 degrees. Jesus Christ, it's hot in here. Will they ever fix my AC? The world may never know. But this bad boy right here, this is a $100 paperweight from my capstone. I still don't know if I want to either A, donate it to the college itself, or B, make a very, very expensive coffee coaster out of it. But speaking of coffee, here's my little coffee setup I have for the campus. If you haven't noticed, I am a bit of a coffee fanatic on my channel. Okay, so I actually really like this one too, because this is a puzzle I made a while back that I got for Christmas. And it's basically a ton of different coffees from around the world. I've always kind of wanted to like go through here and make each and every one of these, so once I get my new setup, that's probably something I'm gonna be doing. But yeah, you know, your basic little setup and everything overall. I'm really happy with it, but God, am I happy to get a new desk and a bigger area for it overall. Listen, I think I've definitely utilized as much space as I can, and this desk is really nice, but it just feels a little bit claustrophobic at times. So that's definitely something that I want to invest a little bit more into once I do get to my new place. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about this. Fun fact, if you kind of notice in the background, there's actually a giant vent behind my desk setup. Typically in the past, I've actually hid it by putting a little bit of black cloth and just like, you know, putting it on the wall there, pretending it doesn't exist. But I do think it's just funny that I went so hard with that in the first place. I guess in the past, I've been really scared about how it looks in the background, and it's like, oh no, people won't care if it looks unprofessional. So I tried my best to make the place look as professional as possible, even if that means doing weird stuff like that. I think overall, one of the biggest weaknesses that this campus setup had in the first place is just how freaking tall the roofs are and how echoey it is in here. But yeah, that's one thing I am excited about getting away from. I do kind of want to show off a little bit of my bedroom too while I'm at it, because there's a lot of stuff in here. One of the biggest things I always wanted to do when it came to my setup and everything, especially here on campus, was utilize every nook and cranny as much as I possibly could. So I ended up having actually a little bit of like my bed right there, and then a sofa right here, here because the entirety of that room is dedicated to like YouTube and kitchen. You even have down here and everything one of my little things from the charity event that I did a while back. I never figured out what I wanted to do with this exactly, so I just kept it there because I thought it looked nice. But right over here is Sir Skellingsworth, that many of you remember. This is what I like to call my shelf of memories, because it just has a plethora of different things throughout the years. I should warn you that my memories are definitely old, and god, there is so much dust. Listen, it's been a long semester, I haven't cleaned much. But starting off at the top, I actually have some pictures of me and my family and stuff over here. And then this is actually from when I won homecoming year, because I thought that would be fun to do. It still kind of blows my mind that one day I just woke up and chose violence and decided to win homecoming like it was nothing. I shitposted so much during that election. The fact that I won at the end just blew my mind. Down on the second stage of the shelf, we actually have a few things like a Paris thing that I got a long time ago just because I do want to end up seeing the world a little bit. And then a lot of stuff from Omori. This is one of my favorites. My friend actually printed this off, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's actually a 3D print of Omori, which I thought was super sick. You have some of the photos from Omori, the special Valentine's pin for Sweetheart, and then a few other things as well. Down here on the next stage is actually a painting that a friend made for me a long time ago, along with the fact of actually some lucky money, as it's called, from my first Lunar New Year into. I've always thought it was fascinating to try out other sim cultures and everything, so when the Vietnamese transfer students on campus invited me out, I had to come. Also, you got this, Memento Mori. We got some tickets from different plays and stuff that I've seen throughout the years, but I'm not going to go too much into detail about those. And then, of course, I have some very, very basic literature that, honestly, all my literature I normally read anyways is online, so this is just like books that I kind of forgot about. But the next stage of this whole ordeal is actually some mementos from some of my little airsoft events I go to. So for those who don't know, I am a big advocate when it comes to airsoft as a little vacation thing on the side, and I do a lot of them that are based off of the world of Fallout. So my friend 3D printed a Liberator from 76, we have a little Fat Man mini nuke that was from one of the games, Nuka-Cola, you know, etc, etc. And again, special shout out to my boy over here. I love you, Sir Skellingsworth. He's always been kind of just vibing right there when it's not during Halloween times. Also, I do want to just point out that I find it rather ironic that the person who does not get cold has so many blankets. Right now, a few of my other blankets are actually being cleaned and everything in the laundry, but I do have like 5 blankets total that I use, and it is weird considering the fact that I just straight up can't get cold because of my skin condition. I don't know, it's probably a comfort thing, whatever. Okay, so over here we have a few more things, such as more props from the airsoft events like Jet, a holotape, and I got my little bobbleheads and things like that. But what we got up here is my little Dragon of Alduin. How you doing, little guy? This is from when, you know, collector's editions weren't actually shit, and it was a good idea to pre-order games. And I do want to give a little tiny shout out to my bird boys here. I love these guys. I get one of these every single time I used to go out to this special place called the Pink House with my mother. They don't sell them anymore, sadly, so I didn't get many of them. Okay, so yeah, that about does it when it comes to the room tour. It's getting a bit hot in here, so I think I'll end it here and send it back to post-dapper. Alright, well, that was footage. I hope you really enjoyed. I just basically gave myself a 5-second pause. Yeah, as I said though, it's a little bit bittersweet. Expect some transitioning right now and everything. It's still crazy to think that I've been here for 5 years, and 3 years of those have been with you guys, so I hope you guys are going to miss this place as much as I am. Don't worry, Sir Skellingsworth and a lot of my other setup is going to be following with me, and I actually have an even better place now, honestly, in my personal opinion, so I can't wait to show that to you guys soon. With that said, I think that basically wraps everything up. I know that this has been a bit of a more delicate video, but I don't mind being transparent with you guys. And again, I'm willing to be open with you guys because I care about you, and I have had so much fun with you throughout the years. I'd rather be transparent than lie to you guys and give this face kind of concept of what it means to be a YouTuber or what it means to live a daily life, because nobody's invincible, as I said earlier. So, take care of yourself, alright? At least do it for me. But honestly, at the end of the day, all I gotta ask you, have a wonderful night tonight, and as always, stay dapper. Man, I fucking miss that.